Hey, we are live. It is Thursday night, Attack of the Androids. Nick is kicking the cat out of the room, which is not a euphemism. That cat, oh, hey, maybe he's not.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have a guest.
The cat was just lonely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, without further ado, we will kick this off.
For centuries, we've been warned about little green men. Now, they are coming. They're coming for you. Prepare for the attack of the android.
What's up, guys? It is Thursday, April 23rd, 2015. This is Attack of the Androids number 155. I'm Eric Finkenbeiner. Joining me tonight is Nick Carroll, also known as @Nick from Houston. What's going on, Nick?
Hey, not much. Glad to be back for the podcast. Didn't want to miss another week in a row, so we're on.
No, totally not going to do that. There's too much to talk about. Too much stuff has happened in the past 2 weeks to skip. I think most notably, maybe doesn't affect a majority of people, but it's like a huge, Google story is that they've launched that wireless phone service that they've been, hinting at, or that people have been talking about. It's been rumored, and it's called Google Fi or Project Fi.
Yeah, they got to start everything with the word project. Apple has their I this, I that. Google has their project this and project that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very special. I guess it's a very googly way of doing this. Sort of the idea here is that they're going to be using T-Mobile spectrum,
Yeah.
and
some of Sprint spectrum as well. They're actually teaming up with T-Mobile and Sprint to do this, which is kind of weird. So they're going to have their own little SIM card, and it's right now the only phone that's potentially usable that is usable or will be when it goes live is the Nexus 6 because of all the bands that it supports. And you'll have a special Project Fi SIM card that you'll put in it and allow you to sign into both T-Mobile and Sprint's network. And the service, the key feature about the service is it'll always connect you to the strongest signal at any time. So you can use T-Mobile or Sprint's network, or you can switch to your own Wi-Fi network. It'll automatically do it, based on what is the strongest.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little, Republic Wireless,
Yes.
sort of idea. But the big difference is that it doesn't require, it does require a special phone. But, I mean, you can take this Nexus 6. It's just an unlocked Nexus 6.
Yeah.
You don't even have to order it with the Project Fi program. Like, if you have one, you can go, you can look at the coverage map, and you can request an invite.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, you don't have a Nexus 6. Have you still requested an invite?
I was this close, but I didn't. The interesting thing about the service is, while it does require a Nexus 6, like in terms of that's the only phone right now technically that supports it, that that can use all the networks at once, but you can also expand this to any other device you have, like a tablet, another phone, a computer, a notebook. You can use these different devices as long as you have Hangouts installed. So that's something that's interesting. But as far as something that can use the cellular networks as well, that's not where you need a Nexus 6.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have the Moto X 2014, which we know is, just mini Nexus 6. So I requested an invite. Screw it.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, if the innards are the same, maybe at the very least, I just need to get like some, root the phone again, get some spoofing program that tells the network that I'm a Nexus 6.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll be okay. Like, I'm hoping it's something very simple as opposed to like them checking IMEI numbers and things like that. But I mean, this is pretty cool. Is it everything that you hoped for, given all the rumors?
Well, some of the first rumors that I heard it's just a wireless only service, and you can only get it on the Nexus 6, which I called bullshit on, basically because it didn't sound logical, but it basically allows you to use 2 of the 4 biggest cellular networks out there in combination with your wireless, and it's supposed to seamlessly transfer through it. But it's an extremely simple kind of plan. It's basically one prepaid plan only. It's got one worldwide rate. Basically, it's $20 a month. That's like the fee for the service, and then it's 10 gigabytes, $10 per gigabyte of data per gigabyte. So $10 per gigabyte. So it's roughly 1 penny per megabyte of cellular data, whichever one that you use. So.
Oh, I didn't realize that there was a monthly fee. I thought it was just the 10 for gigabytes, and that's it.
It's a prepaid service, and it's the $20 monthly fee, but they do have a separate data fee. So one moment, let me move my cat out of my room.
Again, not a euphemism. There's an actual cat. If you're not watching the video, this is happening live. These are the things that happen. Well, I will say, yeah, Nick's right. This is BS. $20 a month. I was really hoping it was just going to be the $10.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's true. But that's the thing. It's not necessarily priced to beat every possible prepaid plan. There are other prepaid plans you can get for cheaper over time. But the key thing about this is A, is its simplicity, and B, that you can use 2 cellular networks at the same time, kind of like what Republic Wireless does, as well as your Wi-Fi. So,
well, I mean, come on, like we all should. Google's getting all, like, if you do this,
yeah,
like Google is getting all of your data, like everything. You've hooked the pipeline, and they're just sucking it all down. Like, couldn't this be free?
Maybe so, but I mean, ultimately, Google is not a charity or a nonprofit organization, so they're going to try to make money somewhere. Yeah, well, we're going to start charging the viewers. No, but just anyways, yeah, no, I mean they could probably still make money and not charge for the service, but I mean the providers like T-Mobile and Sprint, they're not going to do this for free either. If you're going to use their network, they're still going to charge you. So that's probably how Google has to operate to get it done. So
yeah, it's just I like the idea. I think it's pretty neat. I was just back in the States. Well, actually, it was about a year ago, and I had a T-Mobile SIM. It was okay. Like, for the price, like that was the main thing. The price was the driver as to why I went. And also the temporary nature of me being there. I picked up a T-Mobile SIM.
Well, it's also available.
Do this.
Yeah, well, it's also available in a lot of countries. They say it'll be available in over 120 countries, particularly because, like the Nexus 6 in particular, it has support for all these networks that it can use. Also, when it comes to the data plan rolls over essentially. So like if you only use half a gig in a month, that rest of the remainder essentially travels over to the next month, and that adds up. It's not like it travels to the next month and then it's cut off. It all adds up or whatever. And also, if you go over but you haven't paid for it, since you're going month to month, it'll carry over to your next bill. So there's a couple dynamics there that are pretty decent. They're trying to focus a lot on simplicity, and that's a huge selling point on it.
Yeah. So I looked at the international rates. You're right. I mean, there are 120 countries where you get international data without roaming fees, which is amazing. If you want to call or text, though, you're looking at about 20 cents a minute for most of these places, unless you're on Wi-Fi.
I'm not an international man of mystery like you. Is that normal for traveling? Are those rates about typical in your experience?
Honestly, I don't know. When you travel, typically the best thing to do, unless you have honestly like a business or like a family emergency need to have the exact same phone number, you just go out and you get a local SIM card. In most places, they're very cheap. I look at this though and think, with a gigabyte of data and the ability to get the without roaming fees, this might. I may do this, and if it works on my phone, use it to replace my local phone. Yeah. Because I don't use the regular phone. I have a work phone. Like, this is just personal for me. I mainly use it for data.
Yeah. Well, another plus on this is that there's not exactly termination fee either. There is no termination fee. So if you don't want to continue to use the service, you just stop paying, and that's basically it. So
now, one thing I do wonder, I'm one of those crazy people that ported my number over to Google Voice.
yeah.
So I had a cell
Google-
phone with Sprint.
Mhm.
I moved it. I paid, just like switching from Sprint to Verizon, I had them move that cell phone number to Google Voice. So
Yeah.
now people can call me. It'll hit Hangouts. If you text me, it goes into Hangouts.
Yeah.
There's not really any information about, that.
Well, it does say, let me see if I can find the line here, but it says, I didn't list it here, but there is most Google Voice numbers will work. It didn't say all, but one of the lines on the Project Fi website did say that most Google Voice numbers will work with this. So,
okay, that's good, because I saw something that said, "Can I bring my number to Project Fi?" And they said, "Oh yeah, of course you can."
Yeah.
But that Google has a tendency sometimes, like the integration of their services is really good, except when it's not, and when it's not, like it's like ridiculously not integrated.
The other caveat is if they discontinue a service abruptly. So that'd be the other thing here. So it looks like they're all in on this, but time will tell whether or not this is something that is A, successful, and B, has legs if it continues on.
Do you see this, speaking of how Google operates, do you see this merging eventually with Hangouts?
I don't see it replacing it per se or merging with it, but I think they're going to use Hangouts with it as much as possible for voice and text and SMS integration and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's going to like replace it or just be a part of it. I think Hangouts will actually, the other way around, will be a service heavily integrated into this Project Fi. So that's the way I look at it, at least.
Interesting. All right. Now you had another story in here about, it was also talking about Project Fi, and I'm looking for it's how do the Project Fi prices compare to other, to the major U.S. carriers? What's the scoop on that, Nick?
Yeah, I didn't get to fully compare those, but I did want to at least throw in the article so that others that visit the Attack of the Androids website, they can take a look at all of our links and they can see it. But it's comparable, but from what I'm getting on Google Plus from a number of the people that I follow, is that it's not the best bang for buck in terms of price compared to some of the other prepaid plans, particularly in some of the other countries like India, or I want to say Romania, but it's not Romania. It's another European country in that area, that they have like much lower data rates, like this is like $10 per gig, but there are others that are like $4 per gig or $2 per gig in other countries, so the data pricing isn't the best, and the prepaid plan is fairly low compared to other prepaid plans, but I'm not sure it's a home run compared to others. So,
well, let's look at the base. So $20,
yeah,
plus 10.
Yeah.
So, just comparing it as 1 gigabyte, that's $30 for this new Project Fi, and it's unlimited talk and text, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so unlimited talk and text, 1 gigabyte. If you do that on T-Mobile, you're looking at $50 a month. If you do it on AT&T, you're looking at $50.
Yeah.
Verizon's $55, and Sprint, you're looking at $60.
Yeah.
So,
well, for someone like me, like I just took a look at my phone. I'm not sure if it'll show on screen, but it's 99 megabytes, and I'm already halfway through April. So, like for someone like me who apparently averages maybe 200 megabytes per month, because most of my usage is on Wi-Fi in terms of data. I could probably do $30 a month easily with something like that, and having the advantage of toggling between T-Mobile and Sprint based on which has the best signal, or if you're at the house, you would just immediately use Wi-Fi, and that would take precedence over the other signals. So you can save a lot of data simply by having Wi-Fi as a good option. So for your phone calls, etc. So.
One quick correction. So with Sprint, it's $60 a month, but that is unlimited 4G LTE. So if you're looking at, if you like to stream like Spotify, that sort of stuff, and you're going to hit, well, what would that be? I guess 4 gigabytes. Yeah, 4 gigabytes on a Project Fi.
Yeah.
Unless there's coverage issues, you're probably better off just going with Sprint.
Yeah. Sprint and T-Mobile are generally a little bit more competitive. That's because their networks aren't technically quite as robust as Verizon and AT&T's, for example, although they're relatively close. It depends on area, the area that you're in, et cetera. So,
well, they one disadvantage, they will not pay your early termination fees. So unlike a lot of the other carriers, you either need to be out of contract. Yeah, T-Mobile will do it. I think Sprint does it too.
Yeah, T-Mobile has their own website that's like, I forget the domain, but it's basically you go to the website and you can have it take over, the termination fees, et cetera. So yeah.
Well, it's good stuff. I'm interested to see more. Like I said, I requested an invite. Hopefully I hear back soon, and I'll pop that sucker in my Moto X and see what happens.
So the key thing here is the potential is there. It's another avenue for people to get cellular service as opposed to some other carrier that they're with, or it's an alternative prepaid plan. Maybe not happy with the current prepaid plan. Most other MVNOs only use one network. Republic Wireless is one of your exceptions where they're not quite an MVNO, but I think they also use the same 2 networks. But
they use Sprint. I don't know that they use T-Mobile.
Yeah, I'll have to look up on that. My memory is fuzzy on Republic Wireless, but it's another option, and it won't hurt to try it out. And we'll see. I'm sure all future Nexus phones will have this option, and other competitors, other companies that have phones would probably have the same thing. So,
very good. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about the Samsung Galaxy S6?
Oh yeah.
So I threw a couple of stories in here. The S6, we know as Shane's, ultimate Uber phone that he loves. We'll have to get him back on to discuss that once he gets it. But 2 small stories this week about that. The first, the S6 finally has support for custom recoveries.
Twerp.
Twerp, which is very interesting. I mean, it's as of late, and it could just be that I'm out of the scene. Things like this they're not as newsworthy as when we first started. But I think it's still very important having a custom recovery. If folks don't know, like this is something that when you turn the phone on, you can go into recovery. It's prior to the operating system loading up, and if you have a custom recovery, you can do some really cool stuff like full backups of your phone. Sometimes you can fix issues. You use the recovery to apply updates. So having access to something like Twerp, which is quite a bit more robust than the default recovery, is pretty cool. Now, one negative thing. So I started looking into this. You can load it through Odin, which Odin is the Samsung. It's sort of like
it's like Keys, right? But
yeah, it's like
PC.
Keys.
Okay.
It's like a maintenance-ish type. It's a little more technical than Keys. Because Keys you can do a lot of consumerish things. Odin is, I imagine Odin as, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the application that you take your phone into the store and it's screwed up and they take it in the back. They hook it up to Odin. So you can load this via Odin manually using a computer. If you're rooted, you can just load it using the Twerp Manager app from the Google Play Store. But honestly, I couldn't, in XDA, I didn't really see much activity going on in their forum as far as like how to root this thing.
Maybe they're only focusing on the most popular phones. Maybe they're having to focus on those. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. So I mean, at this point, it seems like if you have an S6, if you want a custom recovery, go out, get Twerp. And I would probably just recommend doing it via Odin. It's not that hard. Just Google Google Odin tutorials. It's pretty point and click, and it's not too difficult. Maybe just, what do you think, Nick? Move on to the next S6 story.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So iFixit has a teardown. If you're curious how you're going to repair this thing, or if you just like to see the latest phone torn apart, I have a link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, it costs you nothing to watch other people dismantle these things, but it's kind of cool. Like I've been a PC technician for nearly 2 decades, and I've had to take apart a lot of things. And having a service like iFixit or tear down guides and stuff like that, those are pretty important, and they actually help. You know, you get your stuff fixed or help you fix your stuff. So yeah, they tore down the S6 Edge a couple weeks ago. And then this week, or maybe late last week, they tore down the S6, and you know, they have repairability scores for everything they tear down. So,
yeah, I totally agree with you. iFixit is amazing. I actually have I have like a little iFixit toolkit, which is if you do any of this stuff with phones, like I've had multiple people come to me and want me to like help them tear apart their iPod, their phone, and like these kits are outstanding. But if you go on the site, you look at the Galaxy S6 teardown, they have a 1 out of 10 scale, like 1 being like impossible to repair, 10 being easiest to repair. The S6 scores a 4 out of 10, which is kind of, I mean, it's disappointing, but it's unsurprising given you know how things are put together nowadays.
Yeah, well, you know, the interesting thing is, and you know, I thought it would actually be lower, especially after, because I read the teardown and I saw on their iFixit YouTube channel the teardown of the S6 Edge. They haven't done the S6 yet on YouTube, but I thought it would have actually been lower because everything they had to do, because you know there's glass on both sides, and you have to like get a spudger or different tools to basically get all in it, and then you have to get in some cases a heat gun. In this case they didn't have to, but there's adhesive everywhere, and there's, you know, and some things are like soldered on, and other things are like, I forget the name of the technology, but it's pretty deep, you know, how this is put together, and taking it apart is no easy task. But 4 out of 10 is better than I expected it to get. And as a point of note, the HTC One M8 and M9 both scored a 2 out of 10. So those are even more difficult. So that says something about it. But yeah, you can see there on the pictures there's the spudger they used to separate the panel from the frame. And they had to do it on both ends. In fact, the Edge was even worse because that glass that covers the screen, you know, it being curved, that's harder to actually take apart, and they actually tore apart of the screen unintentionally in removing it. So, but yeah, these are pretty tough to disassemble.
I mean, look at this. Okay, so that's a heat pack. The point of this is to sort of melt and get that glue. Yeah, it's a glass back. Get that glue all gooey, and then it's like you're scaling a wall. You're Spider-Man or something, and you have your little, you know, suction cup and your guitar pick.
Yeah.
Like if you're having to do this to your phone, you're screwed. Yeah. Like this is not good.
Yeah. If the glass is damaged and you want to replace it, it's going to be hellish, essentially, to get that. And there's a circuit board and all the different wires that are either soldered on or, you know, connected. Pretty difficult to get those off there. So.
Yeah, I will say that if the glass back is broken, I would probably feel much better about this, because they say in their, and I'm going to take the screen share down. They say in their wrap up that you know, probably the hardest part of removing that back is not breaking the glass.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the whole thing just makes me anxious thinking about it. But you know, good for iFixit. Definitely recommend going over there. But if you have a phone, if you have any device, they've torn it down, guaranteed.
Oh, one thing I want to mention, and we didn't include it in the notes, but I'll do it after the show. But there was all right, so there's a YouTube channel and website called Phone Buff. I've started calling them Phone Scuff, because what they do is they do drop tests like a lot of these other sites like Android Authority. But what they started introducing in the last month was a machine that has been specifically designed for drop tests, where you have a phone or whatever, and it holds it a certain way, and then they drop it like 6 times, and so they basically destroyed these phones. But so they dropped the S6, the Galaxy S6, and because it has glass on both sides, it was just glass everywhere, and just it was not pretty. So the S6 is not as durable as previous Galaxy phones. You know, it is more premium, but it's not more durable. So that's a downside. It's a trade-off.
You know what? I had an Nexus 4 for the longest time that had glass front, glass back. I never broke it. I don't know about you, Nick, but
I still have mine, but it's not broke. But it died unceremoniously one morning. It no longer works. I can get it repaired for like 150 by sending it to LG, but I just haven't. But yeah, I still have a glass phone. Fortunately, I haven't shattered it. So
well, Nick, go to ifixit.com, find the repair kit, do it yourself.
That's right.
That's $150 worth of your time.
That's right.
Very cool. What do you want to talk about next? Your choice. Do it.
Let's see. Okay, actually, there's one thing I wanted to mention, and this caught me off guard because I wasn't watching Android news over the weekend, but LG's G4 was unceremoniously, I like that word, leaked over the weekend on a microsite they had that was hosted in, I think, Korea. I'm not sure where it was at, but
was it leaked or was it leaked? What are we talking about here, Nick?
Basically, it's a website they had, and someone stumbled on a way to get to the goods, and basically all of their announcement information for the G4, including the plastic and leather backs and all the features that it has, you know, basically was all over the website, including all sorts of high resolution pictures and other press material, essentially. And you know, just for example, so it's got a 5.5-inch quad HD IPS quantum pixel display. It's got a bunch of, I'm not sure the technology, but quantum is in there, quantum dots, I guess. So it's a 25 by 60 by 1440, you know, resolution. It's got a 3,000 milliamp battery that's removable, and it also still has an SD card slot. And so it's pretty, yeah, there you go. It's pretty good looking piece of technology, just like the last few phones that they've had. They have a very high screen to bezel ratio, you know, very small bezels, very large screen. So it's a very compact display. And it's got a 16 megapixel camera that's supposed to be similar, if not identical, to what's in the Galaxy S6. And it even has an 8 megapixel front facing sensor. So that's pretty cool. So, and of course it's got a variety of colors and 2 different types of backs. So
is this flat or is this curved? Like that kind of looks curved to me.
It does look
just
curved.
The back?
It does look like there's a slight curve, but I haven't seen anything that specifically mentioned it. They did release a couple phones recently, a couple mid-range phones that have slider curves and what's on the LG G Flex 1 and 2 respectively. But it almost looks like that's the case here just from the pictures, but it could be that we're influenced by the back coverings and, you know, influencing what it looks like. So
what I'm wondering is, are you going to be able to buy these backs? Because removable. The back is removable.
It would have to be, and you know that was one of the two biggest selling points of the previous Galaxy phones, all the way to the original one, is that you could take the back cover off and replace the battery, even get expanded batteries. Like my wife had an S3 and she had a 7,000 something battery expansion pack. I don't know what you call it, but it gave her like 3 times the amount of battery storage, you know, endurance that her S3 had normally. So that could potentially be an option here if it's a removable back. So, and that also introduces a market for selling these backs. So there are other companies that would sell third-party back plates for Galaxy phones and other phones that have removable back covers. So that's a plus of the LG G4, is that you could potentially have other third-party backs you could purchase and use. So
I think this looks nice. I still like my Motorola phone, but LG. I mean, I think I had the Nexus 4. I feel like I've had a couple of LG phones recently.
Nexus 5 was an LG phone, and I've had some previous Optimus LG phones in the past as well. But
those were junk.
Those were junk.
I would say anything Nexus 4 and newer is a decent phone.
Yeah, and the Nexus 4 is partly what turned things around for LG, as well as their G series phones. So,
dude, not partially. It's totally what turned it around.
I
have to think that
the
they
other
got
part is they
schooled.
stopped selling those Optimus phones. That was the other half. But yeah, go on.
The other half. I think they learned a lot from participating in the Nexus program. Quite honestly, even LG, like I don't know what they call their skin, but I mean it's so lightly skinned, and it's a nice phone. So whether this was a leak or a cleverly planted marketing scheme, I guess we don't know. But if I were looking for a new phone, I wouldn't rule this one out. It looks nice.
It looks good. I've always personally had a problem with the idea of the buttons being on the back, but you also had like the Moto X, for example, that had the dimple on the back, and their other Moto phones that they've had, plus the Nexus 6 have a dimple in the back. And so for a lot of people, they're probably just used to used to having that. So if you're used to using that, that's the thing. If you're just acclimatized to using the buttons back there, I'm sure it's no big deal. And the trade-off is
I'm not sure what to do with my hands often, so it's very nice.
It's like a virtual nipple, I guess. I don't know. Something like that.
You went there. That's good. Now we have a show title. Thank you. In Matt's absence, you've provided us one.
Someone had to go there, and apparently this guy.
Awesome. So this you mentioned it briefly, but the second link that you threw into the show notes was talking about the camera module. So you said on this it's 16 megapixel back, 8 megapixel front.
Yes, and it's supposed to be a pretty good 16 megapixel rear-facing camera. Now, I haven't been able to tell if OIS is included. To me, I would think it's mandatory for LG because their last few flagship phones have all had OIS, even their Nexus 5 had OIS, and it's a good feature. So
I think it's a necessary feature. We did direct comparisons between the Nexus 4 and the Nexus 5, and OIS made a huge difference.
Yeah,
like the Nexus 5 camera is not the greatest, but the Nexus 4 camera is junk. Yeah. And like you get that weird thing, you're trying to take a picture and it's still kind of moving because everybody shakes a little bit. OIS is like totally necessary in any modern phone.
Plus, it eliminates the kind of warping that happens from digital or electronic image stabilization, where the software is trying to keep things together by distorting the image to do that. So
yeah. And I guess it's got a huge aperture, a 1.8 aperture, which will let more light in. Low light should be better. All good things, Nick Carroll.
Yeah,
all good things.
If they have OIS, and that would definitely set it apart. Continue to set this line apart from other phones. Like the HTC One, the last couple iterations, the M8 and M9, both have gone without OIS, and it ended up with lower quality images than even the original M7 was able to produce. So,
all right, Nick. Well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some new, some might call them features. If you're part of the EU, commission, you might call it things to sue on. Google has added some more of those to its Google search, specifically. And we'll kick this one off. Find your lost phone via Google.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's very much like...
Is this like I left my phone in the bar, or is this I can't find my phone in my house?
I think a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but it's not as robust as the Android Device Manager, but you can at least make it ring by saying, okay, Google, I don't want to say anything off in my room or in your room. But, okay, so-and-so, and then you find
okay, someone.
Yeah, okay.
Find my phone.
It's kind of funny to watch other Android podcasts kind of do the same thing, where someone will say something and then someone's phone goes off or whatever. Anyway, so.
All right, so I'm going to tempt the gods and do this, and see if I can. Okay, so I've just searched for Find My Phone.
Yeah.
And then it says, okay, searching for your phone, and asks you to sign in for security, because we're very security conscious. All right, so it's contacting and it's locating my phone. And it's got a little drop-down menu, so you can like pick between like it knows your different what do you call it? Like your different devices.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So and there's a little button that says ring. So let's try this. Ring, ring, ring. Your phone will ring at full volume.
Full volume.
Holy crap!
It works.
It works. Okay, so it found my phone. This is perfect.
Yeah.
This is outstanding.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this is you can use any other device to find the device you can't find. So let's say one of my kids, for example, steals one of my tablets. I can find it now, that kind of deal. So it's pretty cool.
And you can scare the hell out of them in the process.
That's right.
I did not expect it to do that quickly.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. So yeah.
Now, one thing just thinking about this, do you think somebody could take advantage of this to do something nefarious? Because it's not calling you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not calling you. Google's obviously sending some sort of message to your phone that says activate the ringer.
Yeah, I suppose so, but they would have to have your information, I would imagine. So
I don't know, Nick Carroll. Stranger things have happened, but I mean, Google's stepping up their game. My God.
In a way, it's kind of cool because you don't necessarily have to load up the Android device manager or log into that website necessarily. You can just, find it that way. So,
you know what I did do months ago, because sometimes my other half loses her phone quite a bit. So I ordered the Stone Tether. I did the Kickstarter for the Stone Tether, which was that Bluetooth technology that you're supposed to be able to detect from like a million miles away.
Yeah.
Those haven't shipped yet, but I mean, it may be obsolete by the time it gets here if we can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the only benefit to that is that this you need your phone ringer on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Like for me, I've been interested in getting the Moto Key Link, or at least when I can find one at a decent price. It's sub $50. Where because like my wife, for example, she'll either lose her phone or her keys, but practically never both. So if you have something like that attached to your keys, you can use your phone to find it, or vice versa. So I think something like that, is still pretty cool. And the thing about the program that you signed up for, the Kickstarter you signed up for, was that device. Don't they have like a network of other devices, and can't you opt in or something, and you can find other people's devices? Or I think of something else.
I think you're thinking of something else. Like, God, I hope not.
There was a similar service advertised. I don't remember the name, where you would have that kind of a feature where you have something that finds something else, and you could sign up to a service, but like other people like if someone had a phone that was lost and they were near you, that phone was signed in, you're signed in, they could find it that way. I don't know. I'm not explaining it well enough, but
no, it sounds like I mean, isn't that Google game? It's Ingress.
Yeah,
are you talking about Ingress?
No, it's not a game.
Now that would be cool. Like, find people's phones, get points.
That's right.
It's like a scavenger hunt. Awesome. So Google is also doing another thing via search, and I think we're going to have to live demo this one too, if possible. You can now send your Google Map directions directly to your phone via search.
Yeah, they had something not quite like that, but they had the feature where, like, let's say if you search something, like for me, I was like, how do I get to this location on my desktop at work or whatever? But then I could get on my phone and it would remember the last search that I did for my desktop. But this is like taking it one next level. You could just send that search to your phone or whatever. So
yeah, here, and I will live demo this one. If you're watching the video, just pay attention. So if we just say send directions, oh my God, my phone's location, where do I want to go? I want to go to IHOP. So how about, do you have an IHOP there in Houston? I'm sure you do.
Yes.
IHOP near Houston, Texas. So, hey, there we go. And then you just say send directions to my phone. And if you look right up here, this is what I was talking about. So you have my Moto X, and then you have, well, I guess it's only doing my Moto X on this one. But then you just hit send directions to phone, and there it goes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say, I would personally use that feature a fair bit, because I do a little bit of traveling around downtown as well as, to other places. And I would use that. But for me, what I've resorted to doing is searching at work. And then I would just look in my history essentially on my phone to get those directions. So, but this is like one step easier. So,
yeah. Google making the world a better place, one search at a time. They sent out a little internal memo. We don't have to talk a lot about this, but Recode reposted parts of an internal memo discussing. I think this was just prior to the EU kicking off their antitrust charges against Google. So in the memo, Google says, they're sort of like making the case to their own people as to why the them getting sued is or being charged is BS. The first line that Recode had in there that I see is Google saying the competition is just one click away and it's growing. People can use Bing, Yahoo, Quora, which, come on, nobody's using Quora. Stop that. DuckDuckGo, and a new wave of search assistants such as Apple's Siri and Microsoft's Cortana, as well as other specialized services like, and I don't get this, Amazon, Idealo, Leguide, Expedia, or eBay. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know what Idealo and Leguide are. I'm guessing maybe those are European, and they're trying to show that that there's competition. But they say, in addition, users increasingly turn to social networks like Facebook and Twitter to find news and suggestions, where to eat, or which movies to watch. So Google's coming out, they're coming out strong, at least to their employees that, they're coming out saying, hey, this is not it. We didn't do nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're doing business essentially. And, what the EU is, just in my opinion, doing is finding them for success. They're offering their service, and a lot of people are signing up to it, and they make up 90% of the European market apparently in terms of online search. That's even more than like the US or Canada or most other regions. And so it is kind of weird to see the EU basically saying, we're just going to fine you $6 billion, or they're going through the hurdles of suing and judgment essentially. But I mean,
that's six Instagrams. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it is kind of crazy that, what they're doing. So it just, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, this is $6 billion that Google could use to gobble up, a bunch of nice European companies and people get payoffs. I mean, this is, I don't know. This is interesting. I took a look. I didn't really see anything more recent than this. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Maybe if this heats up a lot, maybe we'll do sort of like we did with the Oracle versus Google court case. Maybe we'll do like a special episode just talking about that. But for now, that's all you get.
Yeah.
They're getting sued. Sucks.
Yeah. And this is going to be one of those things where it takes a long time to go through, like a year or more, maybe even 2 years for this to even culminate in anything. So yeah, it's just going to be another one of those litigations. So
yeah, so we got like a year's worth of steam ahead of us. Like Attack of the Androids isn't going anywhere for at least a year. Well, Nick, you know what else sucks? YouTube coming off, no longer being supported on some older Google TV devices. Yeah, it's very sad. I'm sure Ant Pruitt will be upset. I believe he still has a literal Google TV. Yeah, like one of the ones that had Google TV preloaded up front.
Yeah.
So the story is that YouTube, or that Google is shutting down, I guess, some of its APIs, and those were used in older versions of the YouTube app.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I didn't really see. I was trying to look as to like they had like what devices are affected. I'm curious how many of these TVs that don't have Google TV necessarily, but they have a YouTube app that they've sort of loaded like an in-house.
Yeah.
Are those going to stop working?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Like I've got a semi-smart, well, I'd say it's a smart TV out there in the living room, for example, and it's got a YouTube app. I think my son Chris has one of the newer Samsung smart TV. It's got a YouTube app, but it would be interesting to see if some of these older TVs lose support, for YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What sense do you get? My non-techie friends, I don't know of any of them that use the apps that are loaded on the TVs. Like, these things just seem like wasted.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it seemed like features or just something you'd have on a demo in the store. But from time to time, like I've used the one out there, I've tended to rely more on the Chromecast because I can do more with the phone or tablet that I'm using, and plus any of the kids or my wife, can use that. But I've used it sometime, but I would say that if somehow it magically stopped working, it wouldn't affect me at least. So, but I've got a litany of devices. So,
well, and I have to think. I mean, these companies could, like, if you have a Sony, like I actually have a Sony TV that I bought in 2012. Actually, it's hanging right above here. I use it as another monitor.
Cool.
I'll have to check that out. I wonder if it's going to stop working.
Yeah.
And if it does, Sony can push out updates.
Yeah.
I've only seen them do it once.
Yeah,
to where I turned the TV on and it said, "You have an update for your TV," and I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, if you think about it, you have to have a TV that's smart enough to be able to update itself. Like, it has wireless access, it's on the network, and therefore it can do that. But some of your older, a lot of other TVs, there's no way to do a firmware upgrade easily. So
yeah, it's like, download to this USB stick, put it in your TV service port. Like, this is not.
And essentially reboot the TV, and if you're lucky, it'll actually upgrade.
So weird. Alrighty. So that is that. I guess you're screwed. Sorry, folks. You're also screwed if you wanted to pick up that 500 gigabyte NVIDIA Shield console.
Yeah.
How depressing is that, Nick?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's like, oh, by the way, here's an NVIDIA Shield with 500 gigs of storage. Oh, but it's not for you unless you're a developer. So yeah.
Dude, I'll say I'm a developer. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, sure, of course I'm a developer. Can I get this?
Yeah.
So the NVIDIA Shield console, like, Shane and I geeked out over this thing when it got announced. Powerhouse, nice Tegra, I think K1 processor, 4K output. This thing looks like a beast. Unfortunately, NVIDIA sucks, and you still can't pre-order the thing, even though it comes out, I think, next month. But they updated their site. NVIDIA, it has 16 gigabytes, but it has expandable memory for $199. Well, NVIDIA, somebody accidentally put the SKU on the website, also offering a $299 500 gigabyte option, and swiftly took it down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disappointing. It shows. I mean, it shows you that they're probably doing this at cost, or close to cost, because they want people to develop for the platform. But I mean, it really shows you how much these people are gouging us on storage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you have a phone. You have a phone with 16 gigs of storage, and then you have a phone with 32 gigs of storage, and there's like $100 difference between them or something like that. And that's kind of, that's just commonplace. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's very depressing for me. However, it's possible that, it's possible, however unlikely, that this is like some sort of like some like weird, like jerry-rigged, NVIDIA Shield. If you guys go out there and you do a Google search on some of these developer kits, for like the Xbox 360 developer kit or the PS4 developer kit, these things don't look like the finished product.
Yeah.
So this thing could be some like Frankenstein device that it's like, okay, $299 gets you, this weird box with a USB, expandable hard drive.
Yeah, there's a mechanical 3.5-inch hard drive glued to the bottom of a box with the.
Well, that would make sense to me, honestly, because you don't want developers necessarily, developing this giant game, this like more than 16 gigabyte game, and assuming that like if it's all on the internal memory of a developer kit, it's going to behave differently if you have that versus the game having assets and other things split between, you know, a second device.
Yeah.
So it's probably not, even if we could order it, it's probably not what we want,
Yeah.
but it's what we want.
Yeah, it is.
So-
However, still what we want. Yeah. I would be interested to see what it looks like. Does it look exactly like the NVIDIA Shield portable that we know, or is it something else? So yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I check this website at least on a weekly basis for when, and I've done that, like notify me when it's available thing. I don't know, 10 times. Take my money, NVIDIA. You idiots. Oh, well. Are you going to get one, Nick? Have you decided?
I'm pretty much not going to get one. At this point, I've got an Nexus 9, and that's about as much. I don't do as much tablet or portable gaming as I may have done 20 years ago. So
it's for your TV, dude.
Yeah.
You hook it up to the TV.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, you can Netflix the hell out of this thing.
Yeah.
Oh well. I guess it'll just be me and Shane. That's fine. See here, Yahoo. They're getting, they're throwing their hat into the ring when it comes to personal assistants. They are going to take on Google Now, Siri, and Cortana with their own little person, codenamed Index. I don't think this is going to do anything for anybody.
Yeah. Yahoo is, honestly, in my opinion, they're trying to become the next Google, ironically. But Marissa Meyer, she's ahead of it, and it's like they're trying to take as many pages out of the Google playbook as possible. They've reskinned their site. They offer these YouTube apps. They started paying Firefox to make Firefox use them as their primary search engine, and all sorts of things like that. So they're trying to find different ways of getting out there and turning the tide for them. And Index is yet another way they're going to attempt to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how good is it. So
there's a couple ways this can go. Siri is built on technology from Nuance, which is a great company. Google has been doing this sort of thing for years, so that's how they were able to do a good job. I don't know what Cortana is built on, honestly. Do you, Nick? Do you know what the underlying technology is for Cortana?
The name escapes me, and I'm not sure if it's the right name. But I would say offhand, no. But
okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Yahoo, the success of this, I mean, it's not going to be successful. I'm going to stake in the ground. This thing's going to flop. Nobody's going to use it. It's going to suck. However, the quality of the search results is going to be highly dependent on where the technology came from. It concerns me a little bit. If you read the Business Insider article that is linked to in the it'll be linked to in the show notes. If you look at that article, they have a quote here. Or, sorry, it's not a quote. It just says advertising engineers are already involved in the project, so it's likely that the product will be ad supported because that's what people want.
Yeah.
It's like, Index, I'm hungry. Well, this, your meal is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Please make a left. Like, this is not going to work. Huge failure.
Yeah. I mean, the only upside to this is that it's yet more competition in this search space, but they haven't been successful with search. They lost out to Google. And so I don't know.
They don't even do their own search anymore, do they? Isn't that all based on Bing still?
Yeah, they partnered with Microsoft, and now all the results are powered by Bing. So the interesting thing to me is how will Index differentiate itself from Cortana, because Cortana uses Bing for its search results. So
it's going to be Cortana. It's going to be the exact same thing.
Index.
We've taken Cortana and we've skinned it with Index.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new? Hold on. Have you seen the new Avengers movie? I just saw that last night.
Oh no, I will be seeing it this upcoming weekend. So.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you, but I want you to think about this story, and I want you to think about Yahoo and Microsoft and how Index is going to just be Cortana, and then watch the movie and get back with me. You'll get the connection. It makes sense. Decent movie, I will say. decent, but you know, I think you could tell Joss Whedon was maybe done with the Avengers. So I don't know. That sucks. Just a couple more stories. Acer is going to be releasing a challenger to the NVIDIA Shield tablet. I don't think it has a name, but it's going to take on their Predator line.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll call it the Predator tablet, but yeah, that's what they announced it with, is they have Predator desktops, gaming series desktops, and it's not an attractive tablet from the pictures that I've seen. I mean, it's aggressive, but I mean, it looks more like a toy than a tablet, and that's the only thing that I'm not a fan of. It looks like.
Did you just say it's aggressive?
Aggressive.
I love it. And that is the best way to describe this tablet. That's aggressive as hell.
Yeah.
Look at that piece of crap.
Yeah, my tablet will beat up your tablet is basically what that is telling me.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, look at those. Yeah, that's
what
it threw me.
Feet.
Yes. Red feet. So
red feet, red ears.
This is probably not going to be fun to hold on to. Maybe it's grippy, but man, look at that.
You don't say. Jesus Christ, the bezels on this thing.
That looks like something it looks like something you would see in a movie, you know, like Star Trek or one of those kind of deals. It's like
this looks like the thing that they pull out of the alien spaceship to destroy the other alien spaceships.
Yeah, basically. I've got the obelisk, or whatever.
Oh, holy shit. Well, cool. Do we know any specs on this yet, or is it just like
I wasn't able? I did some searches. I wasn't able to find anything on it. I mean, I'm sure they'll have an announcement soon. I thought I read somewhere that it's scheduled for maybe Q4 of this year, so it's not out now. It's not like a Q2, Q3 kind of item, but look out for it. It'll be on the hunt soon, I guess.
Yes. Watch for us. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't know that this is going to necessarily compete with the NVIDIA Shield because let's compare. Like, doesn't look like crap. Looks like crap.
Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed to have something like that. Companies like this, I mean, I guess it's good to have. It's good to cater to all markets, but I mean, do you even see? You talk to your 16-year-old son. He plays games. Like, does he look at this and say, "Ooh, that's sexy, Dad"?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that would interest him per se. And you know what? This could just be a way of gauging reaction. Maybe that's a prototype shell, and they're like, let's see if people like it. And if they don't, well, let's go with something else. So the final product
snaps off.
Like, let's take this. So we may never see this in production in the real world. So we'll see.
We can only hope, lest my eyes bleed. Okay, man. Last story of the night. We love Google Keep on Attack of the Androids. I dare I say that it is the official note-taking app of Attack of the Androids.
Yes.
You can now browse your notes on Google Keep from Google Keep on your Android Wear device. How exciting is that?
To me, that is actually more of a selling point for getting an Android Wear device, because I use Keep for everything. I'm constantly making notes, like if I'm at work and I think of something for class, I'll jot it down in a note, and then I'll go to class and I'll pull up Keep there and use that to ask the instructor questions or whatever. So, I mean, I use the heck out of it myself. So if in theory I had a watch, you know, an Android Wear watch, and I could browse through the notes that I jotted down without having to bring out my phone, that would be appealing to me. So it's good that they're continuing to add these kind of features, you know, to this platform. So
yeah, I think it's good. So we have some mock-ups here. You can scroll through, like, oh my God, I picked up the bread. I forgot to pick up the brie. It's pretty cool. You can download the APK now, but I will say that I had the update. I think it was last night. Like, it's already being pushed out. If you have Google Keep, you probably already have support for this. Now, we didn't get to talk about it last week. However, there's some good sales going on. I mean, I don't think they're going on anymore, but like they sort of like how we see with phones, like you'll get like a 1-day sale where the phone's, really cheap. We're seeing this with the Moto 360, which might be a precursor to them releasing maybe like the Moto 360.
A Moto 720.
Oh yeah, no, it's just they're gonna take a page out of the Microsoft book. It's just gonna be the Moto 1.
The Moto 1, because no one's ever thought of using that as a name. Yeah. So I don't know. Like for me, I am very tempted to get a Moto 360, and something like a sale on that may actually spur me to grab it. But I may still wait for a second generation product before actually getting an Android Wear device. That's just me personally. I've had enough experience over the decades with first generation hardware and software. I think I'm going to wait.
I think it's probably a good idea. The Moto 360 is a nice looking watch. But I mean, for me personally, I have, they're not giant, but they're not small. I have sort of regular wrists. And it looked, I mean, I still feel like most of these watches, probably with the exception of the Pebble Steel, just look huge and bulky, even on my wrist. So, we saw that leak a few shows ago where it discussed, where who owns them now? Lenovo? Yeah.
The smaller.
Yeah, Lenovo, the dude the CEO had posted pictures and it had the smaller Moto 360. Yeah. I'd be interested maybe in that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I kind of want to I want to try it on. I want to see, I just want to see how it all works. However, to get one of these, I think they're on sale for like $160, $165. May
That's
not be a bad deal.
Yeah.
And I could check right now.
Yeah. and it's not that bad. Like I've gone to Best Buy a few times, and every time I've gone by, I've checked out the Moto 360, and it looks pretty good. I've got relatively slender wrists, and to me, it doesn't look too big on me the way I look at it. But I'm not personally interested in like steel bands per se, because those have never been comfortable for me. But there is also actually a Moto 360, like a uniband, or I forget what it's called but it's like a singular monoband, and that looks pretty good too. So
yeah, I don't know. I tried to keep the stories a little wearables light for Matt's sake, but then Matt wasn't here, so I guess it doesn't matter. Oh well. Well, Nick, I think that's it. That's it for Attack of the Androids this week. We're done. What's going on in your life for the next 7 days?
Well, mostly studying. I've got finals coming up, so I'm taking a networking troubleshooting class. So I've mostly been prepping for that. So unfortunately, my YouTube channel, I haven't been able to produce a lot of videos for that. But once I take the final, I'll actually be able to put more into my personal channel. So, but for me, it's really just studying at this point. So,
well, Nick, maybe you take that network troubleshooting class, you apply for a job at Google.
Yeah.
And you help fix all these weird Hangouts things we're having. Yeah, folks, we had this, I think I mentioned this, or Matt mentioned this on the last show. Like Hangouts just does some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And it did it to us again. Nick had to restart his computer. So, Googlers, if you're listening, if you're out there, please fix this. We like using Hangouts. Well, as for me, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm heading to Gay Paris to meet my sister-in-law. Who we could only convince her and her husband to come out and visit us if we promise to meet them in Europe. So I guess that's happening.
I guess that's a compromise.
Yeah, it's a compromise. Holy crap, Europe is expensive, and let me tell you, Airbnb is the best thing to happen ever, because when you're comparing, and it's like, $350 a night for a hotel or $100 a night for somebody's apartment, it's an easy choice. But I guess don't you worry, folks, and don't you worry, Nick, because I'll still be back. I'm bringing my mic with me.
Yay.
It's all good. Yay! All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you later. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.